in the area is Cap du Tramont. Now the reason I wanted to go here is because there's this little island with a medieval looking watchtower on it. It was constructed in the 20th century and it's believed to be the inspiration behind the Black Island in the Adventures of Tintin. Now, it just looks so
Olá pessoal, sejam bem-vindos a mais um vídeo desse canal. Nós somos cidadãos do terceiro mundo e nesse canal nós reagimos e aprendemos sobre o primeiro mundo. Nesse vídeo nós vamos estar reagindo à Riviera Francesa.
Portanto, aproveite a oportunidade, considere se inscrever no nosso canal, clique no gostei, compartilhe esse vídeo e faça mais sugestões nos comentários. E agora, vamos para a reação.
What's up guys, my name is Ryan and I recently returned from exploring the French Riviera and I want to share with you my favorite places, so here is my French Riviera top 10. The French Riviera, also known as the Côte d'Azur, is one of the most highly sought after destinations in Europe. Located in southern France on the Mediterranean Sea, the French Riviera is home to some of Europe's best scenery. From the medieval hilltop town of Aix to the scenic calanques of Cassis, the French Riviera is waiting to be experienced. Let's start this video off at the city of Menton. Now located right next to the Italian border, Menton was the first town we visited on the French Riviera as we drove in through Italy. It's strikingly beautiful with its colorful buildings complemented with a backdrop of the Maritime Alps. We stayed several days here and I really enjoyed just walking around the city. Menton was a part of Italy until 1860 when it and the rest of Nice County was added to France. There's a great boardwalk that walks along the coast and I really enjoyed going out to the lighthouse pier to get panoramic views of Menton. Now afterwards we're going to visit the medieval town of Aix. Now located on a hilltop tower looking over the French Riviera, I have to say this was easily the coolest medieval place I visited in my time in southern France. It was only a short 30-minute drive from Menton. Now Aix was founded during the Middle Ages around the 14th century and today it is known worldwide for its medieval vibe and views of the French Riviera. When we were there, we parked in a parking lot at the base of Aix and then walked up the winding stairs and cobblestone paths through the village. I mean, you really feel like you're walking back in time. Everything is so old, yet it's perfectly preserved, and the village is just full of like these tunnel walkways and trees that were just built around. Truly is such a cool place. Now one of the main features of the village is the exotic garden. It's this beautiful place that sits on top of the village. It not only has beautiful plants and cactuses, but it offers one of the best views of the French Riviera. It's definitely worth the hike and €6 entry fee. Now after Aix, we're going to go visit the...
Meu Deus, você viu? É barato.
Bom,
impressionante.
Que lá seja um local barato já não me surpreende muito. Mas o que realmente me surpreende é a beleza natural que esse lugar tem. É muito bonito, é uma natureza muito diversa, muito bonita. E mais uma vez a gente percebe aqui como as edificações estão em harmonia com esse lindo lugar natural.
É um lugar extremamente exótico e único, é impressionante.
Country of Monaco. Now located right in between Aix and Menton, Monaco is the second smallest country after the Vatican. The whole country is only 499 acres. Monaco has been known as a billionaire's playground and over 1/3 of Monaco's citizens are millionaires. Now one reason why Monaco draws the rich is because it's a tax haven. There are no income taxes and other tax rates are extremely low. Now one of the most famous places in Monaco is the Monte Carlo Casino. It was opened in 1863 and has been featured in the James Bond films. Now we just drove through Monaco because we just had to check it out. We didn't do much, but it was just cool to see and just wild to think of all the money that's in this tiny country. Now a really interesting place located above Monaco is the commune of La Turbie. It's famous for its Roman monument called the Trophy of Augustus that was built in the 6th century BC to celebrate Augustus' victory over 45 tribes that populated the Alps. The Romans sure were ambitious back then. Now afterwards, we're going to head over to Nice. Now as the capital of the Maritime Alps department of France, Nice is the second largest city on the French Riviera after Marseille. Now if you're flying to the French Riviera, this is probably the best airport to come to. I didn't really spend any much time here. I didn't really feel like walking around the city. I do regret not checking it out, so if you're in the French Riviera, you definitely can give Nice a visit. Now another prominent nearby resort town is Cannes. Now it's located about 40 minutes drive from Nice Nice. Like many places along the French Riviera,
Wow.
Cannes is associated with the rich and famous and hosts the annual Cannes Film Festival. Now, just outside of Cannes is some of the most beautiful coastline on the French Riviera. It's called the Esterel.
A praia, as águas são muito cristalinas.
Isso é o mais impressionante. Me parece que o sul da Europa tem muitas águas cristalinas. Eu não sei se é todo o sul, mas eu tenho visto que essa é uma característica que é muito no sul nos vídeos que a gente reage. Isso é impressionante, porque até pouco tempo atrás eu não sabia disso. E agora a gente vê que em muitos lugares no sul da Europa tem águas extremamente claras. Meu Deus, é muito louco.
And it's these red rock cliffs that dive into the sea. Now, I was talking to a local on the beach, and he told me that this was his favorite place on the Riviera, so I had to go check it out. I mean, I've never seen red colored cliffs in the Mediterranean. It reminded me a lot of the landscapes you find in the American Southwest, except it has the Mediterranean Sea, so it's so much better. The coastline is part of the Esterel Massif, and it stretches from Cannes to Sant Raphael. Now, it's full of hidden coves, red rock islands, and secluded beaches. I love just driving along the coastline and parking in its many lookout points and just exploring the coast. I highly recommend visiting here. Now, one really cool place I visited in the area is Cap du Jamon. Now, the reason I wanted to go here is because there's this little island with a medieval-looking watchtower on it. It was constructed in the 20th century, and it's believed to be the inspiration behind the Black Island in the Adventures of Tintin. Now, it just looks so scenic, coupled with the red coastline. I mean, there's a really nice beach there, and the water is perfect for freediving. Such an enjoyable place. Now, afterwards, we're going to visit the town of Sant Tropez. Now, this is one of my favorite towns I visit on the French Riviera. Sant Tropez is located about an hour-and-a-half drive from Nice. Now, Sant Tropez grew as a fishing village and military stronghold until the 20th century, and it was the first town to be liberated on the French Riviera during World War II. In the 1960s, Sant Tropez started gaining popularity amongst jet setters, and today it's renowned for its beaches, nightlife, and yachts. Now, the main part of Sant Tropez is pretty small, but I love just walking around its streets and alleyways. There was this path that walks along the coast, and it was just really nice to explore. Now, overlooking Sant Tropez is the Citadel, which was built in the 1620s to protect against Spanish forces. Today, it's a naval museum you can visit. All in all, Sant Tropez is a really beautiful town, and I understand why it's so popular. Now, afterwards, we're going to head over to the island of Porquerolles. It's part of the Riviera Islands archipelago, and the village on the island was founded back in 1820. Today, most of the island remains undeveloped as it's protected, and it's a perfect nature getaway with some of France's best beaches. Now, you can reach the island by taking a 15-minute shuttle boat from the Guyenne Peninsula, or you can also reach it from Toulon. Now, while you're there, you can bike or hike around the island to its Caribbean-like beaches, such as Courtade Beach, or you can trek around to its more rugged parts of the island. It's definitely an island worth visiting. Now, afterwards, we're going to visit.
É muito bonito. O lugar realmente é maravilhoso. A natureza é incrível. O que realmente enriquece esse lugar é a natureza que tem, que é muito diferente, muito diversa, mas as edificações antigas são incríveis.
Isso que eu ia comentar. A natureza é única e exuberante, mas a forma como eles cuidam da questão da urbanização é maravilhoso, porque você vê que tem uma harmonia. E isso é uma coisa que eu acho incrível nos vídeos que a gente reage desses países de primeiro mundo, porque eles têm um cuidado muito grande com a questão da urbanização e arquitetura. E isso fica uma harmonia maravilhosa. Aqui no nosso país tem cidades que têm um pouco de atenção com isso, mas não são todos. E claramente, quando a gente olha assim em vídeo, é uma coisa muito, muito bonita e muito admirável. Realmente é um cuidado enorme que eles têm.
Cassis. Now, I think this was my favorite place we visited in southern France. We stayed several days here. I'm just so glad we did. It's a seaside town with that classic French chic charm. Now, Cassis is overlooked by Cap Canaille, which is home to the highest sea cliffs in all of France with a height of 394 meters. Now, there's a great beach in Cassis, overlooked by a castle. I mean, I just love walking around the harbor, looking at all the boats. You can also walk to the lighthouse at the end of the harbor to just relax and enjoy the sounds of the sea. Now, one of the main reasons I wanted to go to Cassis and just southern France in general was to visit the Calanques. Now they are these incredible sea coves surrounded by daunting cliffs and crystal clear waters. The one I really wanted to go to is Calais d'Anvou. Hope I said that right. Now there's several ways to get here. You can either take a boat, kayak, or hike in. Now on our first day there, we rented a little boat from the harbor in Cassis and headed out to the Calanques. Now the views on the way were just absolutely incredible. Now one downside about the boat is we couldn't land on the beach. You can only drive like halfway through and then it's roped off. But if you do rent a kayak or a paddleboard, you can take it to the beach, which I definitely recommend if you can handle the long paddle. Now we went in as far as we could in the Calanque and then turned around after we just kept exploring the coastline, heading west as we relaxed in this other Calanque with some just really unique cliffs and rock formations. It was such a phenomenal area. Now the next day I really wanted to go to the beach in the Calais d'Anvou, so we decided to do a hike. Now the hike was about 7 kilometers long and it had this one steep descent to get down to the beach, nothing you can't handle. Now once we reached the beach, I mean it was really an amazing sight. The steep white cliffs coupled with the greens of the pines and blues of the water were just amazing. Now the beach was a decent size with a lot of smooth pebbles. We went for a swim and the water was just so freaking clear. I wanted to find a cliff jump spot, so after swimming down the cove, I found this rock about 7 meters high and did a few jumps off of it. I mean, there's truly no better feeling than cliff jumping into the Mediterranean. Definitely was one of my favorite places we went and a perfect place to end our time on the Côte d'Azur. Now, well, that is it for my French Riviera top 10. Let me know where your favorite place is in the comments below. I also started a Spanish channel. If you prefer to watch my videos in Espanol, I did a video on France you might enjoy. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at shirley.films. It's Ryan, and we will see you later.
Sem palavras. E uma das coisas que eu mais acho legal é a forma como tem todos esses lugares maravilhosos, mas eles são lugares que são acessíveis. E aqui no nosso país nós temos lugares muito, muito bonitos, mas são lugares que são de extremamente difícil acesso. E não são todos que conseguem ir. Tem muitos lugares que nós, brasileiros, nunca nem fomos lá. Só vemos por imagem. E a forma como os países de primeiro mundo fazem com que os turistas e seus cidadãos também possam ir nesses lugares maravilhosos é realmente muito admirável.
Sim, muitos lugares aqui em nosso país é de difícil acesso. Muitas vezes, para poder chegar em determinados locais, somente de barco. Né? E na verdade a gente poderia dizer que é apenas poucos lugares, mas na verdade muitos lugares são realmente de difícil acesso. Então muitos de nós brasileiros acabamos não conhecendo, né? Mas por sorte muitos turistas que vêm aqui eles conseguem ir devido às condições econômicas que favorecem eles. Mas esse lugar é maravilhoso, é um lugar mais bonito que o outro, as edificações são incríveis, em completa harmonia com a natureza que esse lugar oferece, e são lugares extremamente paradisíacos. Impressionante, incrível.
É verdade, ver um lugar desse na Europa é uma coisa inacreditável.
Sem dúvidas. Mas essa é a reação desse vídeo, portanto aproveite a oportunidade, considere se inscrever no nosso canal, clique no gostei, compartilhe esse vídeo e faça mais sugestões nos comentários.
Muito obrigada por assistir esse vídeo, nos vemos na próxima reação. Tchau!